Do you think we should change it up?
Yeah. I don't know, I'm getting a little tired of this, I guess.
Let's change it up. We are the Armed Attorneys. Today we are talking about the ATF's new release of the Form 4473, what it means for privately made firearms, some updated language from the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, and the NICS Denial Notification Act of 2022. There's a lot kind of packed into this, but before we begin, show your support for the Second Amendment by hitting that like button. And today's show sponsor is our friends over at Sonoran Desert Institute. I know a lot of you out there like to repair and modify your own guns. If you're ever looking for a way to take your hobby to the next level, Sonoran Desert Institute can help.
The online programs at SDI cover armorer courses, gunsmithing, ballistics, woodworking and finishes, shooting sports management, and so much more.
Plus, tools and materials are shipped right to your door for hands-on practice. It's never been a better time to get an education that you can actually use on the job.
So what are you waiting for? Visit sdi.edu or call 480-999-4767 to learn more.
Thank you to our friends at Sonoran Desert Institute. Now, the ATF 4473, they've just updated it.
They have. And does it feel like this happened so recently, or have we just been doing this too long?
We've been doing this too long.
Okay, that was maybe 5 years ago. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go again.
The ATF Form 4473 has been updated to reflect several things in the law. Now, this is a little bit unusual because typically they will release the form, have a comment period, allow people to provide their feedback, and then release the form. But this one just went straight to market.
Oh, not yes. Not this time, Richard.
So the form has not become mandatory just yet. It will not go into effect until April.
Right, but it's being encouraged immediately. Right. And my understanding is that, I mean, if you're doing your e-form, it's already, I mean, that's all that they've got, right?
Yes. And so kind of the first big thing, we'll just kind of go through the line of things that matter on this is privately made firearms. So now there is a place on the ATF Form 4473. If they receive a firearm that came into their private collection, let's say you had a homemade firearm. You had no intention of having it enter the stream of commerce, but for whatever reason, you don't need this as part of your collection anymore. When the FFL receives that gun now, they have to inscribe it. We know that. But now it kind of shows up on the form.
Yeah, interesting new little box just to indicate that is a privately made firearm that, of course, has now been serialized for resale.
The next thing that comes up, and this came out of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, they've expanded the list of prohibited persons, who you're transferring the firearm to, and added some additional clarification when it comes to straw purchases.
Yes. So what we've got is our initial question, which has been there for years. Are you the actual purchaser of this firearm? And in the past, had you answered no, well, you're not going to be transferred that firearm because you were a straw purchaser. And even if the person that you were purchasing for, say with their money, was a qualified individual, you were still a straw man purchaser. That was still illegal. It was not going to be transferred. But now we have a definition of straw purchase, right?
Yeah, so it's, if you acquire the firearm with the intent to transfer it to someone who you know is going to go commit a crime or you know is prohibited under the law, there's a little bit more to it, but that's essentially what we're talking about.
That is, it tells you what it means to be a straw purchaser. And really, I mean, it's much more specific than our past understanding.
Yes.
It has to be someone who's not allowed to possess for the various reasons under federal law, someone who intends to use a firearm for drug trafficking or for some other felony, or who intends to dispose the firearm to a person who is one of these prohibited things. So we've got this new question now after, right? Because we've still got, are you the actual purchaser? Yes, no. We've got a new question that is essentially, do you intend to give this gun to someone who is disqualified for all these various reasons? The interesting question is, if you now answer no to I am the actual purchaser, are you automatically disqualified? And I would say, under statute, no, but you know that you're not going to get transferred the gun if you say no, right?
Yeah, and we were talking about that a little bit beforehand, is what if you dishonestly answered on multiple questions? Would that be multiple crimes?
Would they ding you multiple times? That surely. Right?
Yeah, I have to imagine so. And the next section, this is section 10.
Yeah.
This is now asking whether the person resides within city limits when providing their address. We know that because, the FBI is going to be reaching out to local law enforcement, whether that's your county sheriff or your city, your city police office. That's what that's all about.
That's how you know which law enforcement to ding if the person gets a deny or really a delay, even though by statute it shouldn't happen with delays. We know that it does. So sure makes it easy to figure out what law enforcement agency to notify, right?
And then the last part that jumped out to me was they updated these are some kind of notices, kind of real notice provisions as part of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. They modified who is going to be considered engaging in the business and dealing in firearms. And they took away the lively component in the law, really kind of, I would say stigmatized, or they made it much more difficult to legally engage in private sales. And those warnings have been updated on the form.
Yes, reflective on the new form. I believe it's predominantly earn a profit, something to that effect is
Yep.
the new language. There are a couple other changes on the form that frankly we think are, not super necessary to talk about, but it's worth reviewing. Check out the new form 4473. Wonder to yourself why it's being encouraged for immediate use rather than being put to comment. And I think that we can wrap it up there, Richard.
If you enjoyed this discussion, go say hello to our friends over at SDI. We really appreciate that. Hit that like button and help us fight the anti-2A algorithm by sharing this video.
And until next time, we're the arms turnies.